Did you know that Romain Grosjean once emerged from a raging inferno after 28 seconds stuck inside it? Formula One is recognized for its tremendous speed and precision, but it is also a sport fraught with danger around every turn. Some of the most violent collisions in Formula One history have not only startled the world, but have also pushed the limits of safety. In this video, we will go over the most horrific crashes in Formula One and how they have forever affected the sport. 1961 Italian Grand Prix. The 1961 Italian Grand Prix in Monza was set to be a career-defining race for Ferrari's charismatic Wolfgang von Trips, affectionately known as Taffy by his contemporaries. With the World Championship title within sight, von Trips entered the weekend in a heated struggle with his colleague Phil Hill for motorsport's ultimate prize. As the race progressed, the stakes rose, but on the second lap, disaster struck with heartbreaking ferocity. While competing with Jim Clark's Lotus, von Trips' Ferrari collided, putting his car into a horrifying aerial spin. The truck collided heavily with the side barricades, throwing debris and horror across the stands. In a moment of utter carnage, 14 spectators seated dangerously close to the track perished, while von Trips died instantaneously from his injuries. The terrible scene cast a pall over the sport, destroying von Trips' championship hopes and leaving a disturbing legacy. 1970 Monza GP. During a high-speed practice session, Rince Lotus experienced a catastrophic brake-shaft failure, forcing him to lose control and crash heavily into the barriers at the notorious Parabolica curve. The impact was catastrophic, and while the car's shattered remains told one story, the tragedy lay in the fatal fault of his seatbelt, which cut deep into his throat during the crash, inflicting severe injuries. Rindt was still alive as medics brought him to the hospital, clinging to the last thread of life. However, the damage was too severe. He was pronounced dead upon arrival, his throat injuries sealing his fate. In a terrible twist, Rindt's championship lead remained uncontested, making him Formula One's first and only posthumous world champion.
1977 South African Grand Prix.
The terrible deaths of Tom Pryce and Frederik Jansen van Vuren during the 1977 South African Grand Prix will go down in Formula One history as one of the sport's most horrifying and unimaginable incidents. The chain of events began innocently enough when Renzo Zorzi, laboring with his automobile, drove to the side of the road and came to a stop. His car caught fire, and despite the danger, Zorzi was able to unhook his oxygen hose and flee the scene. However, two marshals, including the young Van Vuren, attempted to extinguish the fire by crossing the live track. The first marshal survived, but Van Vuren, who was carrying a 40-pound fire extinguisher, did not. As he made his way across the track, he was killed in an instant. Tom Pryce was racing at 170 miles per hour when he crashed with Van Vuren, resulting in an incident that killed both men instantly. The crash was genuinely terrifying. Van Vuren's corpse was thrown into the air, and the fire extinguisher hit Pryce's helmet with such force that it completely dislocated his head. The gruesome and gory nature of the tragedy stunned all who observed it, causing ripples of anguish and disbelief throughout the motorsport world. This fatal tragedy served as a sharp reminder of the dangers faced by both drivers and marshals, prompting critical reforms in safety standards to protect those who contribute to the sport's operation. 1989 San Marino Grand Prix. The Ferrari 640, dubbed fast but fragile, gained its reputation in horrifying fashion at the 1989 San Marino Grand Prix in Imola. In one of the most terrifying incidents in Formula One history, Gerhard Berger's Ferrari failed to turn at the fearsome Tamburello corner, sending him careening into the concrete wall at a scorching 180 miles per hour. The impact was devastating, but the terror worsened when the car exploded into a towering inferno, engulfing Berger in flames. The image stunned spectators and teams into silence, anticipating the worst. Incredibly, the rescue team arrived at the smoldering wreck in 16 seconds and doused the flames in only 10 more, a race against time that saved Berger's life. Miraculously, he escaped with only minor burns and damaged ribs, a nearly unimaginable outcome given the severity of the collision. Though Berger never won a world championship, coming third twice, his harrowing survival at Imola remains one of the sport's most jaw-dropping and essential events. 1994, San Marino GP. The weekend began with a terrifying incident during Friday practice that left Rubens Barrichello critically injured, but the worst was yet to come. During Saturday's qualifying session, Roland Ratzenberger's Simtek lost its front wing at high speed, causing him to collide with the barriers. The collision was fatal, leaving the paddock in disbelief. Only a day later, during the main race, the unthinkable occurred. Ayrton Senna, already a legend and idol of millions, including a youthful Lewis Hamilton, lost control of his Williams at the high-speed Tamburello circuit. His car slammed into the concrete wall with tremendous velocity, and Senna died shortly after, despite desperate medical efforts. 1998 Belgian Grand Prix. The 1998 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. Torrential rain turned the iconic course into a dangerous water slide, and visibility was so bad that the vehicles appeared to be racing blind. When the lights went out, mayhem broke out almost immediately. David Coulthard lost control, spinning abruptly into the middle of the track, and the grid broke into complete chaos. Cars collided one after another in a cataclysmic chain reaction, ending in a 13-car pileup that sent metal and rubber shards flying into the rain-soaked air. The incident brought the race to a sudden halt, leaving the course covered with debris, much like a battlefield after an epic combat. Despite the massive scope of the wreckage, no one was seriously injured. When the race resumed, the relentless rain continued to take its toll, leaving only 8 vehicles to limp across the finish line. It was a strange and chaotic crash that is now remembered as one of the most infamous. 2010 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The 2010 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix featured a double dose of outstanding moments. While Sebastian Vettel's victory in capturing his first Formula One World Championship made headlines, the greatest nail-biting drama occurred in the race's opening moments. Michael Schumacher made a daring attempt to pass teammate Nico Rosberg at the exit of Turn 6, but miscalculated his move and spun, leaving his Mercedes marooned on the racing line. Vitantonio Liuzzi's Force India sped around the turn as dust swirled and tension rose. With nowhere to run and only moments to respond, Liuzzi slammed heavily with Schumacher's vehicle, sending his front wing and nose cone flying over the Mercedes cockpit in a horrifying scene. The Force India came to a dangerous halt on Schumacher's car, just inches from his helmet. 2012 Belgian Grand Prix. The opening minutes of the 2012 Belgian Grand Prix were complete chaos, as one of the most explosive Turn 1 events ever. With overconfidence, Romain Grosjean made a dangerous move into the first corner, hitting Lewis Hamilton's McLaren. What resulted was a rapid chain reaction of devastation. Hamilton, out of control, collided with Sergio Perez, while Grosjean's vehicle flew into the air in a spectacular arc, landing with terrible force on top of Fernando Alonso's Ferrari. The incident was both shocking and dangerous, with debris scattered across the track and several cars damaged. Only Pastor Maldonado and Kamui Kobayashi were able to continue, but Grosjean's actions resulted in an unusual and unprecedented race ban. A sharp reminder that a split-second choice may change everything. 2014 Japanese GP. Heavy rain and limited visibility made for dangerous conditions on that tragic day, when Jules Bianchi, driving for Marussia, lost control of his car in a double yellow flag zone. His car went off the track without warning and collided with a recovery tractor attempting to clear Adrian Sutil's stranded Sauber. Bianchi was gravely injured as a result of the violent impact and was immediately taken to a hospital where his condition was deemed critical. The motorsport world watched in disbelief as Bianchi, a rising star with enormous promise, fought for his life for more than 9 months. Despite his tenacity and commitment, he died unexpectedly in July 2015, leaving a legacy of unmet potential. His tragic death not only cost Formula One one of its brightest talents, but it also spurred a critical wave of safety reforms in the sport, guaranteeing that the lessons learned from that terrible weekend would carry on in the search of greater protection for all drivers. 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. Following Turn 3, Grosjean lost control of his Haas car, which rammed hard into the barriers, splitting in two and erupting into flame. In those painful minutes, with the automobile on fire, supporters braced themselves for the worst, fearing the unthinkable. But then, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Grosjean rose from the fire, a living miracle after 28 excruciating seconds imprisoned among the flames. His remarkable escape was made possible by the Halo device, which protected his skull from the collision, as well as his fireproof outfit, which kept the flames from killing him. These catastrophic events, while traumatic, have been important in driving persistent breakthroughs in safety measures, ensuring that the passion of racing can remain while drivers are better protected. If you enjoyed this look at F1's most terrifying crashes, please like, share with other fans, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting F1 stuff and press the notification bell.